Welcome to the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the City of Kingman. It's 5 o'clock. Can we do a call to order and roll call?
Chair Goss is excused. Vice Chair Swap.
Here.
Commissioner McCoy.
Here.
Commissioner Sprinkle.
Here.
Commissioner Smamby.
Here.
Commissioner Sixta.
Here.
Commissioner Waters.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do one item out of order today. We'll start with item 4A, oath of office.
We have received all signed oaths of offices.
Thank you. Okay, now we will go back to presentations. Annual open meeting law and parliamentary procedure training. The city attorney will provide an annual open meeting law and parliamentary procedure training to the commission members.
That will be me, and I'll try and keep this fairly brief. I think most of you have been through it before. If you're new to it, if you have any questions, you can just kind of flag me down, or if you need to, you can always call my office, talk to me, talk to my deputy, or even talk to the city clerk, Annie. So let's go to the next slide. I'm too lazy to do this myself. So the open meeting law is just basically, it's a public policy that the public bodies, which this is a part of a public body, need to be open for the public to be able to participate and see what local government is doing. It's transparency to the public, it's protection for the public's rights. It's one of those things that we really try to cherish as much as we can to make sure that the input from the public is received by the city in its various boards and commissions. Next. And I probably said everything in that. This is a public body. This obviously applies to you. And I've already said what that says. Next slide. I just said that. Next slide. Constitution of a meeting. What constitutes a meeting is the gathering of a quorum, either in person or by electronic means. Electronic means could be phone calls, Zoom. It could potentially be social media. So if someone posts something on a social media site and you say, I support that, and then someone else jumps in and likes it, someone else likes it, someone else likes it or disagrees with it, then you're creating a quorum where the Attorney General's office will interpret that as some kind of legal action. So what you want to be careful is, be careful on social media. I would say be careful about what you're posting. You can definitely do social media. It's not trying to say you can't, but be careful what you're saying and how it's being said so it's not interpreted as some sort of endorsement for or something against, detracting from some kind of an action. Let's go to the next one. I think that's gonna, quorum is a majority of the commission members. That's 4. Having any vacancies does not reduce that quorum. Next slide. Shows basically what I just said. What are the various forms of ways you can do a meeting? Another issue we want to be careful about is email. So if you get an email from staff or somebody else, don't reply all. The only reason is I would hate for you to jump in and say, yeah, that's a great idea. You hit reply all, then you're communicating a message, potentially a decision. It could be as simple as, hey, are we going to do a barbecue lunch for all of us? Just be careful about that. Your best bet is just do a single reply. Don't do reply all in any kind of communication with staff. Next. Splintering the quorum is actually separating the quorum and have a discussion with each individual. You're having a discussion with Mr. McCoy, and then that kind of filters on to the next one. And it may be an individual meeting, but as you try and discuss and get a position from that individual, either for or against something, as you move along the line, you can create a quorum because you're transferring that type of information. So it's best, again, don't discuss items that would potentially come before this board with more than 3 people total, not have one of those 3 then go to talk to somebody else, if that makes sense. Next. All notices for meetings have to be posted no less than 24 hours. It's happened in the past where some kind of posting notice happens, it's a mistake, we can't hold the meeting. So if that happens, you'll notice that like, oh, we didn't put the posting out, so we gotta rebook the meeting for another day. It's just state statute, nothing less than 24 hours unless it's an emergency, and I don't think anything here would be an emergency. Next. The agendas will list, the posted agendas will list what we're gonna be discussing, when the meeting is, all the specific matters. The big thing we have to remember is what's on the agenda is what we get to discuss. If it's not on the agenda, you don't get to discuss it. So many times you'll see me kind of jump in and say, okay, we're getting a little off topic, let's steer it back on. Because if you're doing anything that's off topic, that could be an open meeting law violation, or if you talk about saying you want to approve something that's not even on the agenda, that's void in its face. And I try to be a little open, because I know sometimes the statements that you may be making are maybe a circular route to get to your point, but there may be a point in time I jump in to interrupt you. I don't mean any offense. I may not know where you're going, but just try to recall or try to remember that we want to stick as close to the topic as we possibly can. Next. That's what I just said. Next. Calls of the public. When you have a call to the public, which is not required by statute, but we do allow them, you can have reasonable time, place, manner restrictions. When they come up, they get time. I think we do 3 minutes for calls to the public. You don't get to respond to them. Your options basically are don't respond, so sit in silence, direct staff to address it, potentially direct staff to put it on the next agenda. At the end of the call to the public, when it's over, if someone had come up and just started calling you all sorts of names or things that you don't like, you can potentially respond and say, I disagree with that. My recommendation is you don't ever do that, because then you might start a dialogue, or you might set that person off enough that they're gonna come back to the next meeting and say what they wanna say again, and they'll come back to the next. I've found that if you just ignore what they say, they've said their piece and they move on. If you feel like you really have to do it, you can. I just always recommend against it. Next. That's pretty much what I just said. Next. The public has a right to attend, listen, videotape, record. They have a right to speak at a hearing or call to the public, but they don't have a right to disrupt. So if they start yelling, being disruptive, causing a scene, the best thing is ask them to calm down. If they don't calm down, then I would say you recess the meeting for a few minutes, let things calm down. Maybe you have people escorted out, then we'll resume the meeting again. Next. If you violate the open meeting law, there could be a civil penalty imposed by the Attorney General's office. The AG's office, or technically the county attorney, can investigate these type of these types of violations. They can impose a civil fine. If there's a civil fine, it's on you. It's not on the city. The city doesn't pay any of that. You can be removed from your position. I don't think there's really any chance of anything much stronger than that. I don't remember the maximum fine, but I'm going to say it's $600, $1,000 or something along that line. And obviously anything that you do that's in violation is null and void. I would say that the AG's office is not looking to catch people doing this. What they want to do is make sure people don't. So what they look for is, if you do this by accident, they're going to want to look at educational measures. And that's where I would come in, this type of training again. If they think you did it really with intention to deceive or deprive, then it can get serious. It could go into criminal citations if they felt it was warranted. I've never heard of that. We've had a number of open meeting law violations reported. It's always resulted in either someone may report it, doesn't mean it is. And the results either there was no violation or there was a violation, was minor, and we've addressed it by providing additional training. They don't want to catch anybody. That's not what they're looking for. Next. A conflict of interest. I like to say it's not a dirty word. It just means you have some interest in some project in town. What you need to do is if you have an interest that's a direct conflict of interest, that's pecuniary, monetary, proprietary, you need to report it. And the city clerk's office has some paperwork you can document that on. And then what you do is recuse yourself from the discussion completely. My suggestion is you sit out there or sit in the conference room until that discussion is over. There are a lot of ways to have interest in different potential projects that come before you, but there's a lot of ways to be able to, I guess, say, extricate yourself. If you go to the next slide, and that's just basically, and the conflict of interest is not just you, it's going to be an immediate family member. It's defined by, wife, your spouse, I should say, spouse, parents, children, I think brother, sister, and I think the in-laws as well. Again, just make sure you're not violating it. Make sure you're thinking about what's coming up in front of us or in front of you and how you may be related to that. Public officer or employees, just one quick thing is you can't provide goods or services to the city if you're a member of the city unless it's come through the sealed bidding process. Not that that happens too much here. What we have is what's called a remote interest. Those are those interests that are so remote that they don't constitute an actual conflict of interest. There's a huge, if you go to the next page, this is a list, one page, next page. That's the second part of the list, and I think if you go to the next page, it's probably the end of it. But these remote conflict of interests are going to be, if you're on another public body and there's a conflict maybe between the two bodies, things about ownership interests in various stocks, businesses or whatever around town. I don't know your business. If you think you may have some kind of conflict, one, look through this to see what could be classified as remote interest that would move you out of that conflict, but call me and we'll talk about it and sort through if there's any kind of conflict that we have to be concerned about. Preferably do it before we have the meeting rather than at the meeting, because sometimes I may have to think about it. Next. Basic parliamentary procedures, pretty straightforward. We don't follow Robert's Rules of Order. They're just overly complicated and very difficult. The city clerk was telling me about, she was at, it was a city clerk's international conference, and they have something like 20 members on their board. They have a full-time parliamentarian to help determine the Robert's Rules of Order. And at one point they had a motion with something like 13 or 14 supplemental motions on top of that, and it takes, you got to sort through all of these motions in order to kind of keep them straight. It's confusing. It can be bullying. We go by something very simple. It's just be polite, be respectful, get your motion. If we look at the next slide, the motion is that main question that you're going to be looking for. I move to approve something. So that's your main motion. You have subsidiary motions that could be something you want to check, amend the main motion, meaning if I want to approve it, then someone wants to file the subsidiary motion, say, well, yeah, I'd like to approve it, but with this added condition. So that's how you would add that. Then what you do is you vote on that second portion, which would say, okay, I vote to add that to the main motion, then you vote on the main motion. We try not to do that too often because it can get very confusing about where we're at. We try to make sure the motions we say are very clear and concise. And what's really preferable is that the chair would repeat the motion so that the clerks, recording secretaries can hear the actual motion's been repeated, because I think we have times we've had people that have been confused over what they're voting for. If you're confused, you need to speak up because you're voting for something. So just make sure we're really clear on what those motions are. Next. Getting the motion, you obtain the floor from speaking to the chair, saying, hey, Madam Chair, can I have the floor? Then you speak your piece, make your motion. A motion needs to be seconded. Once it's been seconded, and motions can be made by, the primary motion can be made by the chair, second can be done by the chair. But once the motion has been seconded, the chair can call for the vote. or call to have some more discussion on that motion itself. And again, when you do that, it's best the motion be I move that we do this instead of I move that we don't do something. It just, when you start throwing negatives in there, it gets a little confusing. But it may have to be done, just make sure it's really clear. Next. Oh, the text is so small. I think part of that was me talking about how you can expand the motion by adding certain things onto the motion, but we always want to reduce that as much as possible. Let's try and keep the motions really straightforward and simple. But if there's a question about how to do it, I'm here. We can try and work through it to make sure it's as clear as possible. Next. Straightforward, just look for motions that are in order, obtain the floor properly, clearly, concise, and obey the rules of debate, and always be courteous. That's the best thing. Try and be polite with each other. Try not to step over each other in your conversations. It's hard for the recording secretary. It's hard for the audience to know what's going on. I know this is really fast. I hope I covered it, and if anybody has any questions. Gary? No. Okay, just checking. I think you had questions last time I did this, but. Well, I can dig up. Oh, I'm sure you could.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Cooper. I appreciate you keeping us respectful and professional on this commission. Okay, second, the approval of minutes, the regular meeting minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission for November 12th, 2025.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Okay, next, the call to the public, comments from the public. Those wishing to address the commission should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items on the agenda with the exception of those on the consent agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The commission may not respond to speakers during the call to the public. The commission may direct the staff to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda. So first, I want to say that if maybe everyone is here for the change of zone, and if you're here for that, then it will be open to the public when we address that. So if there's anyone here that is not for that agenda item and would like to speak, we invite you to come to the podium. Okay, seeing no one, we will now move to the action items. Okay, action item 4B. Need my glasses. Okay, RZ 25-0003. This is a change of zone of 3.3 acres from rural residential to R-1-6, single-family residential, minimum lot size 6,000 square feet to C-2, community business, for property located at 1850 Gates Avenue, City of Kingman, APN 311-14-273D. Applicant Matt Reddig for First Assembly of God. We will have the staff presentation.
Sorry. Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners. I'm presenting to you this evening a project for Hope City. It's a rezone request, case number RZ 25-0003. So as stated before, this is a request to rezone approximately 3.3 acres from an RR rural residential zone and an R16 residential single-family 6,000 square foot minimum zone to a C2 community business zone. The existing use of the site, the subject site contains an existing church. The intended use of the site will remain a church and will include a daycare center, both of which are permitted uses in the C2 zone. Sorry. As you can see here, this is the zoning map. The current zoning designations for the site are RR for the portion that contains the church and R16 on the western portion of the site where the parking lot is. The existing RR zoning was approved January 21st, 1997, and the R16 zoning appears on the 1969 zoning maps. The RR zoning designation was a result of a rezone in an attempt to eliminate the need for a conditional use permit for further expansions of the church, and then subsequently the zoning code changed again, and now they're back in a position to come before a public hearing to expand the church. The general plan map indicates public, quasi-public designation for a portion of the site that contains the church, and I believe it was medium-density residential. With the change in the 2040 general plan, we can approve the change in general plan designation to a regional commercial by way of a technical administrative amendment. So all that you'll be looking at this evening is the rezone portion. If approved by technicality, it will get approved through the general plan as well. So based on the findings, the proposed amendment is consistent with and conforms to the goals of the general plan and any applicable specific plans. The proposed amendment will not be detrimental to the public interest, health, safety, convenience, or welfare of the city, and will add to the public good as described in the general plan. And the affected site is physically suitable in terms of design, location, shape, size, operating characteristics, and the provision of public and emergency vehicles. We did not receive any agency comments, and public notice was given, mailed notice on December 17th to all the property owners within 300 feet of the site. The site was posted with signage on December 17th, and a notice of hearing was published in the Kingman Daily Miner on December 17th and the 24th. There was no public input received as of this date. And based on the findings contained in the staff report, an application to change the zone of 3.3 acres from R16 and RR to C2 is hereby recommended for approval to the mayor and city council. I've also included in the presentation the site plan that was submitted for review. They're currently in the process of having their building permits reviewed. As you can see, the existing church site, they're expanding to the west. And if you have any questions for me.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, the portion that's R16, is that going to be merged with the parcel to the east of it? Or is it still going to be two separate parcels that are just going to share the same zoning?
So they actually went through a parcel platting process. There was a residence on the western portion of the site. They split that off. So that will remain R16 for that residence there. And they're just rezoning what's now the church site.
Oh, I thought from the image, it looked like a parking lot was the R16. It's kind of an adjoining.
It is. That.
Yeah, and that there's a residence on the far west of that? Or?
Correct.
Okay.
So they split the residential portion off, and now they're trying to rezone the entire site to be consistent.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a question for my own ends. I know churches are usually permitted as a permitted use within the residential zones. I don't know anything about your last passed zoning ordinance. Obviously, you have two residential designations on the property now, and to me, those conforming. I read something in the staff reports of that the use was non-conforming. Is that the case?
Correct. Currently, our zoning ordinance wouldn't allow for the expansion of the church or the proposed daycare under RR zoning, so they would have to have rezoned to a different designation. So they've chosen C2 as it accommodates everything that they're trying to do and allows for the setbacks that they need.
Is that also, I read in your design, development standards that any place of worship within the residential zones would have to have a 50-foot buffer. Is that part of this also a reason to go to commercial?
That may be the case. I'm not familiar with that wording in our ordinance. I'd have to defer that to Jason.
That is one of the things that they were going to the C2 designation on, Commissioners. Maybe the designation allows them to currently adhere to the setbacks that was already established with the residential zoning without further impacting their site.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Any further questions?
Is there a particular slide you'd like me to leave up?
I think a couple prior, the other map that you had earlier.
This one?
Yeah, so I can see that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this item requires a public hearing. As such, I'll open the public hearing and invite anyone from the public to speak on this matter. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Matt Reddick. I'm the applicant for this project, and I just wanted to come up here today and thank all of you for your time. The city's been a pleasure to work with. This has been a very complex project with a lot of moving parts and pieces, and all of the staff have been tremendous to work and help assist us through this process. There's been a lot of things when we started on this project. There was multiple parcels, multiple different zonings, a lot of different regulations, to get through and make sure that we met all the requirements of the city. And the staff were tremendously helpful for that. So I wanted to come up and let everybody know that I'm here tonight, and thank you for that. And I'm also here to address any additional questions in detail if the commission has any.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I did drive by the site and did notice you do have some construction going on currently. Is that part of this expansion, or is this past permits?
That is part of this expansion. We pulled a demo permit, so we are demoing and preparation.
I have one question. On the west end where the residential property is and your parking lot is there a block wall existing there now?
There is a block wall existing there now. It is short. We're providing a deed condition with our building permit. We own the property on the west as well.
Yes.
We use that for church housing currently. And so we are putting a condition on the deed if that property were to ever be sold and not in the church's possession anymore, that the height of that wall would be extended to meet that zoning requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Reddick.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and City staff. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Cohen. I'm the project manager for TROR and representing the Hope City Church as the general contractor. We thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening regarding the proposed addition and remodel of Hope City Church. This project is intended to improve safety, accessibility, and functionality of an existing campus, while also introducing a small daycare and preschool program as part of the church's ongoing community services. This proposal does not represent a change in the overall land use, but rather an expansion of the services that are compatible with the zone that we're requesting. The daycare and preschool will operate within the church campus, serving families in the surrounding community, and will be designed and operated in compliance with all applicable zoning, licensing, and life safety requirements. The project consists primarily of interior renovations, life safety upgrades, improved egress, and a modest building addition. Parking and drop-off circulation, pedestrian pathways, and accessibility have all been carefully evaluated to ensure safe and efficient operations during peak hours. We have worked closely with the city staff, fire officials, and third-party reviewers to address code compliance, parking calculations, fire access, pedestrian safety, and site circulation. And Hope City Church has been an established precedent in this community for many years, providing worship services, youth programs, and outreach initiatives. The addition of the daycare and preschool responds to a demonstrated community need by supporting working families in early childhood education in a safe and well-regulated environment. We believe this project aligns with the city's general plan goals related to the community services, family support, and responsible redevelopment of existing properties. On behalf of Hope City Church, we respectfully request the commission's support and approval of this project, and we appreciate the guidance and collaboration from city staff and the commission, and are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Just as regard traffic.
Waters, can you please speak in your microphone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Regarding the traffic, was there any crossings or anything that you needed to put on the streets nearby for schools? I know typically I go down a street with a school and there's like a crossing guard or some sort of.
Not from the residential side to the property, but inside the property from the sidewalk to the main entrance of the church, there will be a pedestrian crosswalk.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
You have a question?
Do you have a question?
Do you have another question?
I do. You did say a small daycare center, and I read somewhere where it's going to be 100 to 110 different students.
That's what it might be capable of, but it won't get to that capacity right off the bat. It's about 4,000 square foot addition that we're adding to the campus, and then a 4,000 square foot playground to apply with the restrictions that are required to have for that size of daycare.
I also did read that as the church uses during Sunday services and that it's not being used during the week.
Correct. Yeah, the daycare and preschool will only be Monday through Friday, and then church service will be as normal as it is now. Thank you.
Do we have additional comments?
I have one other question, and it's probably to staff. Has there been a traffic study that would trigger any kind of Stockton Hill Road improvements, signaling, crosswalks, or anything to that effect there?
Do we
Vice
need to close public hearing to
Yes.
address that? Okay. Let me just see if there's anyone else who would like to speak first. Do we have any other comments or anyone else who would like to speak today? Okay. Okay, so I will close public hearing and I will open up to commission discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Swap, Commissioner McCoy, there was no traffic study required of this project. This is an existing site. The overall expansion is fairly nominal. Prior to this site's existing operations, the easterly portion of the site actually operated as a full educational facility, a full school. It's actually being utilized in a less intense capacity as it's being proposed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is our time to discuss any questions, concerns, make a motion.
I just have a concern. Not a concern, but just a thing. As the church goes to commercial use or commercial zoning, it does, open them up to reduce setbacks and stuff like that. My some concern is when churches turn into schools, you have obviously playgrounds, you have different things that could impact adjoining residential properties. Is there safeguards in the zoning ordinance regarding that? I'm sure, like you said, there's probably a view obscuring fence required or something like that. Is there anything? Because I believe that's what the buffer zone was in that residential zone portion of the zoning ordinance.
Vice Chair, Commissioners, maybe, yeah, the site itself is, as it's being developed, there are walls already around portions of it. They have improvements planned with their expansion as well, and then the actual play area is actually centered more into the parking lot area. So it does meet those buffer requirements.
Okay, my concern, I'm not concerned, but my thing is, I've seen smaller churches with smaller parking lots that, obviously this site is well suited, it's got plenty of buffer space, but I've seen a lot of others, and would they be steered to, per se, the commercial zoning if they were to expand also?
Vice Chair, Commissioners, maybe, I believe this is kind of a one-off case. We were dealing with two underlying general plan conditions. We're also dealing with two separate residential zoning designations on the site. They were directed in this particular path. They were given some options to explore, whether that being going to a single residential zone or a commercial zone. And keeping in mind with all of their existing setbacks that they had on the site, the commercial zone was more appropriate without having to, again, impact the site further, causing them to actually lose parking and actually impact the surrounding residential area. So this allowed them to maintain their setbacks that they had, maintain their parking, and again, not have any additional further impacts on that, on the residential area. So I believe this is a one-off, but again, our ordinances have changed over the years. Specifically in this particular case, their proposal for the daycare center was the one that was causing them to come back before this commission.
Thank you, Jason. Any other comments?
I can't, sorry, Vice Chair, I can't recall the slide specifically where they, where it showed the elevation. I know we're not really supposed to talk about that right now, but has the retention basin, has a retention basin been included in that sort of construction that's being put on that westernmost parcel?
Mr. Cooper, is that something that we would address right now?
I mean, it's really kind of beyond the scope of the rezoning. That's site plan. It's something that's going to be worked through development services to deal with those particulars to make sure that they're in compliance with our codes that address that type of situation. But if, the director wants to answer the question, it's the question, but I wouldn't delve too deep or use it as a condition of an approval or a denial.
Thank you.
Vice Chair, Commissioner Waters, with respect to the site, because of their existing drainage that they have there, the expansion itself is not increasing any of their additional flows and runoff. They've been able to demonstrate that to the city's engineering department. So they will continue to convey water in the manner that they currently do on the site.
All right. Thanks. Just curious more than anything.
Thank you. Are we ready to make a motion?
I would like to move to recommend
Approval?
approval of RZ 25-003 to the mayor and city council.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Can we do a roll call vote?
Vice Chair Swap,
Approve.
Commissioner McCoy,
Approve?
Commissioner Sprinkle,
Approve.
Commissioner Smampy,
Approve.
Commissioner Sixta, Commissioner Waters.
Approve.
It's been approved.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cooper, for letting me practice your slides today. Okay, so reports, are there any reports from staff members?
Vice Chair Swap, Commissioners, yeah, just a couple things I want to just bring to the Commission's attention. So starting next month in February, at the request of Commissioner Waters, we'll be bringing back before you the high-level overview of the APA conference that staff attended this last fall.
Thanks.
So we're bringing that back before the full commission. Also wanted to bring it to your attention because some have expressed interest in regards to the legislative sessions and some of the things that take place. The 2026 57th legislature second regular session has been convened. So that is, as we talked about previously, we tend to react to some of the legislation that gets passed. So if any of you have interest in that, you may be wanting to follow the actual legislature. They have bill tracking opportunities on their website that you can sign up for. So if that interests you, I wanted to bring that to your attention. Also, on the behalf of staff, I actually work closely with the APA. I'm actually sitting on their committee for the Arizona Planning Association to review the bills as they come before us. So we do review them bi-weekly on Fridays. We have a conference call that's set up that includes the American Planning or the Arizona Planning Association, as well as the League of Cities. The city's legislative consultant is also in on those meetings as well. So that will actually kick off this Friday, and we'll be meeting bi-weekly on that. So I just wanted to give you that update in regards to the legislation session that's coming forward. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, announcements by commission members. Do we have any attendance at conferences, seminars, boards and commission reports? Okay. Requests for future reports and updates. Are there any requests from commission members for future reports? Okay. It seems that we have gone over everything, so this meeting is adjourned.